All right, I think we are back. All right, great. Thank you, PA Fats. And in front of us here on 9 and 10 in the purple shirt, Christian Francis, who just came off another 300, so that's 2 for him this afternoon, or this morning, excuse me. As we are now in game 6, Riley Selmer up on lane 10. He makes his spare. We've got a full house in front of us on 9 and 10. Off to the side, Kenny Ryan went 236. Michael Martell was in the 220s. Anthony Nyer 235. Alexis Nyer is now up on 6. Has a chance to go 224 here. She gets the first one. Leah Glazer here on 10, letter D. She struck the first ball. And leaves a 10 pin here. Anthony Mastriani in front of us from New York City. Strikes up. Makes it a double. Yeah, a good group in front of us here for this game. Daniel Lenk now up on 9. He's spared in the first shot. Glazer can't make her spare, so 28 after 2. Lenk with a strike. Martin Stevens, who was one of our leaders, he actually led after 4 at plus 244. That will most likely go to, it could stick with him now. We'll see. Strike for Stevens, so he doubles up to start the match. Christian Francis, after game number 4, was plus 87. He got off to a real slow start with 156, but then has gone 207, 300, 224, 300. So he's now 187. He struck in the first ball down here, but goes a little outside and leaves a 3-9. Riley Selmer in front of us. Strikes, so 20 and a strike for him as Christian Francis spares, so 20 and a spare for him as everybody's through 2 frames here on 9 and 10 in game number 6 of qualifying. Justin Bone over on lane 6 to start off his game 6. Mastriani with a strike. So that's a turkey to start for him. Malik Thompson will be up on lane 5 as Glazer strikes. Looking at who we have up and down the line here as they are slowly getting into game 6 here. Bone with his spare. Shane Matthews is also up on that pair. Turkey for Martin Stevens. How about Link? He'll go high and leave a 4-7. Shane Matthews on 6. Takes the 7 out with a strike. Nick Greco and Jacob Boris, your next 2 up on 5 and 6. Boris, one of the 3 Bowl for Life Foundation scholarship winners for the year. As Christian Francis in front of us leaves the 6-8. Lenk with the spare, now 38 and a spare. Jacob Boris starts off with a strike. One for Francis, so he's got 47 after 3. And a strike for Selmer. 20 and a double after 3. Greco over on 5. Can't see his approach, but you're able to see his release. And it is a strike. And Glazer doubles up. And the group coming down to 7 and 8 makes their way down here at this time as well. Mastriani trying and getting 4 in a row. After game number 4, as Stevens leaves a 7-10, he was the leader at 244. 56th place was plus 72. Now Bobby Paillet was 58th at plus 62, but he just shot 285 last game. So we're looking for the cut to go into the 80s, maybe even in the 90s after game 5, as Link leaves a 4-7. Handicap division. Take a look at the results after 4 from handicap. Tommy Burns led at plus 108 with Tommy Sanfilippo in 5th at plus 87, and 3 others within 8 pins of the top 5. Daniel Lenk with the spare, 58 and a spare for him after 4. Francis trying to rebound, and he does. 47 and a strike after 4 for him. Riley Selmer working on his double. Getting it. So 3 in a row for him. William Kluke on lane 7 leads off game 6 with a strike on 7 and 8. On 11, Jacob Kerstetter with a bad break to start, leaving the 7-9. Glazer 3 in a row, she gets it. Mastriani goes outside, can't get the 10 to fall, so his string ends at 4. Zach Vitelli on 7 and 8, can't get the 2-8-10 out. Martin Stevens with the strike, making it 3 straight. Excuse me, he strikes, that's just 1 in a row. He's E, 86 in a strike. Vitelli gets 2 out on the spare. Brian Kennedy, who had the first 300 of the day, he's here with us on 7 and 8.
jackpots for the handicap division have been updated and finalized. We'll have the scratch cuts, or the overall, I should say, in a couple of minutes. Just a reminder, we plan to begin squad 2 of bowling around 2 o'clock. So we do ask, we will start check-in around 1:30 for the second block. Again, we'll start check-in at 1:30, bowling promptly around 2 o'clock, we expect.
Leah Glazer with 4 in a row. You saw Matthew Stevens on 7 and 8. He gets his first strike as Anthony Mastriani can't get the 8 pin to fall. Brian Kennedy struck on his first ball. And Cloquet with a strike. Oof, high flush for Kennedy.
Bowlers, let's have a nice hand for Adam Turner, who also had a 300 game today.
So if you didn't hear the announcement, Adam Turner also had 300. That was during game 4. He was in 7th after 4. As Mastriani strikes, 148 and a strike after 7. Oregon 10 pin for Glazer. Her string stops at 4, so if she converts here, it's 137 and a spare. Lenk strikes. His first strike since the second frame, so 113 and a strike after 7. Zach Vitelli over on 7. He strikes. That's 29 and a strike for him after 3. Glazer makes her spare. Adam Turner, who had the 300 in game 4, he's over on lane 11 this game. He's got 48 and a strike after 4. That was him who just struck on lane 11. Riley Silmer just had the bad break with the pocket 7-10. He comes up on 10 and gets it to roll out nicely for a strike. So he can still mix it for 256. Brian Kennedy on a double. Doesn't like that one, but he should. High flush again. It's twice he's went high flush. Martin Stevens back up on 9. Nice post at the line and gets it. Just one blemish on his game so far. He's got 116 and a strike. That's him talking there. Glazer gets the 10 pin to go. She was asking, what was the link to this before? Well, hopefully those who are watching just saw that one. 157 and a strike after 8. Francis back on track with a strike. 116 and a strike after 7 for him. Kluke up on 8 with a strike. And he's got front 4. Mastriani strikes. Double for him, 148 and a double. Let's go over to lane 5. Justin Bone working on trying to convert a 10 pin. He's got spare, turkey, spare, and he just spared that. So he's got 118 and a spare after 6. Zach Vitelli comes back nice, takes the 9 out, and he's got 29 and a double after 4. Adam Turner can't get the 10 pin to go. He's over on 12. Kennedy threw that one way outside, but still got it to come back. He says it was the worst, but doesn't matter because he struck. So 4 in a row for him. Daniel Lenk with the baby split. So if he makes this, it'll be 133 and a spare for him after 8. Martin Stevens Jr. working on a turkey. Up on 10 as Adam makes his 10. Inside, got it to go. Get over here, Martin, and watch this 6-pin fall.
I really don't want to.
Yes, you do.
Oh, my God.
That was pretty. We're on about a 20-second delay from YouTube and live here. You gave up on it right about there, and the 6-pin falls. Good shot.
I wish it was a good shot.
Nice spare by Daniel Lenk. 133 and a spare for him after 8. That strike still puts Stevens, look like 266 perhaps. Haven't mentioned Brianna McLeod's name yet, up on 11, trying to make a spare. She's got only 2 out from that, so 77 after 5 for her. Matthew Stevens is up on 7. He started with the front 3 and now has a 2-4 spare in front of him. Is Justin Bone on lane 6. He strikes. Christian Francis gets the same reaction. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Meanwhile, Riley Selmer strikes. 116 and a double. Shane Matthews over on 6, 125 after an open, working into the 7th. Kluke for 5, can't get the 2-pin to fall. Josh Spiegel, who was the cut, that's him on lane 11. Started with 2 spares, next 3, and now leaves a 6-pin. Mastriani still on pace for 260 as he strikes. That's 3 in a row for him after starting with 4 in a row and 2 spares. Leah Glazer looking for another strike and gets it the same way. It's twice she's had the 10-pin fall for her. So she's looking at 220s, 230s perhaps for Glazer. 247 is her max. Daniel Lenks kept it clean all game, and he finally gets another strike. That's 3 out of 9 strikes. The other 6 spares as Brian Kennedy's string ends at 4. Leaves a 4-9 and gets the 4-pin. Martin Stevens up now. Working on 266. Zach Vitelli on 7. Gets the 9 to fall. 29 and a triple for him. So 59 and a double. Adam Turner. I haven't been able to see him strike yet. I guess we've been bad luck for him, so he can convert this and get 87 and a spare after 6. Martin Stevens, he gave it a little more room and gets a better reaction. 5 in a row for him and still working on 266. Riley Selmer working on 256 if he can get it back and leaves a 3-pin. Results after 5, and Martin Stevens still leads at 291, who we see on 9 and 10. Brian Kennedy, who we see on 7 and 8, he's at 272. Zach Vitelli, who we see on 7 and 8, is 4th at 242. Christian Francis strikes at 236. Still has the potential for 236. Christian Francis moved all the way to 12th. Riley Selmer's spare, so 185 and a spare. After 9, Kluke with a strike. Mastriani fell off balance and leaves a 6-10. So he needs to convert this. Hopefully he can go for something in the 240s as Mastriani was coming off a 147 game the last game. Looking to try and rebound to get back into things. Leah Glazer can go off for 247. She was in 91st after game 5. And a strike here for her. They're trying to make up some ground here. Zach Vitelli, 10-pin. Mastriani needs a little help and gets it. So he spares. He can strike here for 246. And that would put him, if he were to strike, at minus 45 after the block. Vitelli cannot convert the spare. So 116 after 6. Glazer gave it more room and leaves a 7-pin. So if she converts this, she will be at plus 56. And Mastriani cannot get that last pin to fall. So 245. He finishes the block at minus 46. And Glazer makes her spare. So 20 and 36 is 56.
Best tournament bowlers after game number 5. Your overall leader is Martin Stevens Jr. at plus 291.
Kerstetter, after opening in the first, now has 6 in a row.
Is Matthew Ward at plus 93. Plus 93. All your side pots posted on the board behind 9 and 10. Just a reminder, at the completion of your 6th game, make sure you return your score sheet to the check-in room. We expect you back between 1:30 to 1:45.
Daniel Lenk in front of us is in 11th. At plus 191. He can strike here. He is in the 200s. Looking to strike here to finish in the 2 teens for this game. Matthew Stevens with a strike over on lane 7. Martin Stevens with the strike here. And Lenk strikes as well. So if Lenk strikes out here, that'll put him at plus 204. And a strike for Martin Stevens. So another strike here would put him 266, which would put him at 357 up for the morning. Lenk gets 8. So 2-7, excuse me. So 210, giving him plus 201. Now Riley Selmer will come up with 185 and a spare. Riley was in 61st after game 5 at plus 78. Was 15 pins out of 56th place. We're going to try and pick up some ground there. Can't get the 10 to fall. So he's in the 2 teens. If he makes this, he'll be in the 220s. Martin Stevens finishes up with 266 and a 357 block. Kennedy with the spare. He's got 135 and a spare after 7th frame. Riley with the spare, so he can go 224 if he strikes here, which would put him over plus 100. The second round, practice will begin at 2 o'clock. All the bowlers have been asked to return here between 1:30 and 1:45. Matthew Stevens with an 8-pin. Matthew Stevens was 68th after 5 at plus 63. Riley Selmer finishes at 221. That puts him at 99. Christian Francis with the spare. It's 2-0. He'll finish at, that'd be 212 if he strikes out, which puts him at plus 199 if he strikes. Brian Kennedy trying to get back his strike shot, and he does. We'll see how Francis finishes up here on 10. 199 up for Christian Francis. The 7th place bowler, Kyle Bolosky, is up on 12. He's at 113 and a double. Kluke, washout. Kerstetter, 7 over on 11, so he's 195 plus the outcome of this spare here. Bolosky gets the 10 pin to go. That's him on lane 12 off to the side. He's got 143 and a double. He has a chance to get 233. He's already at a three-way tie at plus 208. Kluke opens. He's got 183 after 8. Zach Vitelli with 116 and a strike working in the 8th frame. And gets the 7 pin to fall. Brianna McLeod with a strike. After her miscue that we pointed out earlier, she's gone 4 in a row. She can still shoot 227. See where she is standing wise. We'll had one in a tie for 107th, minus 24. Jordan Spiegel with a strike. He can go off for 233. Jordan was the cut after game 4. Spiegel, rather. That's Jordan Spiegel. We had a Josh Spiegel as well. Unless it's the same person, they're wearing a different shirt. I've seen that happen before. Kluke will just barely make that spare. So 183 and a spare for him after 9. See if Kennedy can keep his striking ways going. He has not struck in the last 2 frames on this shot. Strike for Vitelli. That's 3 in a row as he heads to the 10th. Kennedy up on 8. Needs to push and did. High flush again. So he sets a strong foundation with a double. He can still go for 245. Adam Turner over on 11. 10 pin. He can spare and strike for 206. What they will do, as Jacob Boris is over on lane 5 and he strikes, and he's got a 258 going if he fills up the entire 10th frame. And Matthew Stevens, 7 pin, lane 8. What they will do is they will put the top 6 bowlers, and this is going to go off the overall standings, and handicap's going to get pretty much lumped wherever they are on the with their scratch scores. Top 6 end up bowling together. 7 through 12 end up bowling together. 13 through 19 end up bowling together. Now, let's say the top 6, they'll start on, we'll say 21 and 22. 7 through 12 will start next door to them. And Mr. Michael Martell, I believe, just shot 300. Yes, he did.
16, let's have a nice hand for Michael Martell with a 300.
So add Michael Martell to the list of those who have shot 300. That'd be 5. Brian Kennedy having 1, Adam Turner having 1, Christian Francis having 2. So 5 300s early on. Now Turner did go off for 206. Kevin Bolosky struck on his first ball of the 10th. He's up on 11 now. And he has the chance still to go for 233. and head up to 241. Kluke makes his spare. That's 211 for him now. A strike here gives him 221. Belowski on 11. Solid 9-pin. So he can spare for 222. Brianna McLeod back up on 12. Brian Kennedy, strike. So he's in the 230s. 10-pin for McLeod. You want to go one pair over to 13, Adam Caruana. 108 and a spare for him. And strikes, so 128 and a strike. Laying the foundation down for him as he gets to the 9th. Kennedy. Looks good. 10-pin. So he can spare up for 234, which would give him 306 and be 51 pins back of Martin Stevens when we start game 7. Zach Vitelli with a strike. He has a chance at 236 to go up to 278. But he needs this next one as we're wrapping up here. Down on 3 and 4, Ryan Carlisi. Strikes for 180. He struggled this game. Zach Vitelli, 9-pin. 225 if he strikes. Alex Martin over on 13. That's the pair just off to the right. He strikes. He's got a chance for 258. That was his 9th frame. So Belowski with 222, 194 for McLeod. Joe Staris over on 13 and 14 as well as Vitelli misses, so 224 for him. That's 266 overall as Matthew Stevens comes up and tries to wrap up his 10th frame as well. We're going to take a break after we're done here on 7 and 8. If you've ever been down here to South Jersey, go to the bakery stand at Ponzio's Diner in Cherry Hill. It is fabulous. Matthew Stevens cannot get the 10-pin out. So he can make this for 227. Caruana splits down at the far end. We will run down all the bowlers who are in the cut when we return, once practice starts for game 7. Keep you posted on what's going on here, and plus we'll let you know what's happening with the DV8 shootout. Caruana with 161. So Matthew Stevens ends up with 227. And that gets him at plus 90. Looking across the center, this is going to be one of the last balls thrown in front of us, and then 13 and 14 are in their 10th frame. And that looks like that's about it. Allow me to stand up for a moment. I don't see anything else being thrown, so me personally, I'm going to take a break. Be back on at approximately 2 o'clock. Thanks for joining us here.